Awesome. Welcome to a very special call tonight, and I'm super excited to be able to hear what I'm going to hear tonight. I heard a little bit about it. I'm just really grateful for all of you. You know, at times, some of the teams around the United States have these special, like promotions, we would call it. And so the Swift team and the Spire team ended up gathering together and having a Tower Garden giveaway. And so it's pretty darn cool that we're able to have this a special guest tonight on our call. But when I was talking with him the other day and Michelle was talking to him, we really got a gist on just important and how important it is for us to be growing our own fruits and vegetables. And we're going to hear a little bit about that soon. Also, wait till the end of the call because I have a very big surprise for those of you who are putting in brand new orders, and we have the Tower Garden giveaway going until the end of this month. So I want you to make sure that you stay on the call also. So Troy and I had some conversations, but first I want to introduce him to you. Some of you might not know who he is. Troy is a pharmacist, and he founded RX Formulations, which focuses on natural bioidentical hormones for men and women, as well as all sorts of other things, even pet compounding. He and his wife, Lisa, found True Garden in Mesa, Arizona. Arizona's based True Garden is the premier vertical aeroponic food farm in the Southwest. It's the first of its kind facility, and it's operated by solar power. It was designed in partnership with Future Growing, with the vision to drastically reduce the region's agricultural water consumption while making local living produce available year-round in the hot desert regions of Phoenix and the Southwest. Troy at True Garden also has classes. He has beautiful seedlings that he ships out, and he supports all the Juice Plus representatives and Tower Garden representatives in Maricopa County, and for that matter, anywhere in the United States. So he's able to ship seedlings, he's able to offer classes, and he's just been a blessing to all of us, especially all of us here in the Southwest. So Troy, I'm going to kind of interview you a little bit because we had some very interesting conversations. And I know that, Michelle, you're going to probably pin him, right? So this is Troy. Hopefully you see him right now pretty soon. So we were talking a little bit about, I always really believe that this is the absolute best time to grow a garden after Labor Day. And I did verify with you because I know a lot of people in the Southwest and in the in the warmer climates kind of go away and vacation during this time. So some of them do take down their gardens, wash it out, get it all ready for the next season. But a lot of people here, even people on this call, they absolutely love tower gardening in the summer also. So we are now transitioning, even though it's in the hundreds still, we are transitioning from summer into pre-fall. And you did mention this was a perfect time to grow our towers. And why do you think that? Is it because of the weather? Is it because of what? Why is it? So I'm going to ask you that first.
Well, sounds great. I'm always excited to work with you and Michelle and all the different teams here in Maricopa County. You know, we know Arizona's really selling a lot of towers. I mean, I'm excited about everything that's going on here in the state of Arizona. But as the temperature, the biggest thing is the temperature differential between day and nighttime temperatures. So when we start seeing those temperatures drop at nighttime, that allows us to really grow during the daytime, even though we still might be getting up to the low 100s. And typically once Labor Day comes, that's when we know we should be starting our fall garden, be it in the tower garden, or if we're doing any type of root or tubers, you know, getting those things planted in our raised beds as well. So we're excited about fall coming. Summer's been a little bit warm, but again, we grow through the summer here year round outdoors as well. So we're excited to be part of that, and along with your tower gardeners here in Arizona.
And that we absolutely love the fact that that we have you for support and everything, but I was talking to you about, gosh, several things: rising food prices, the E. coli, the pesticides that they're spraying on our vegetables and fruits in the market, water cuts, shortages, and you were speaking a little bit about Lake Mead. Tell us a little bit about your knowledge of what you see coming up for the fall and how this is impacting us as we grow into our season coming.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we've been in a drought for over a decade now, and it was really pretty severe this year. And Lake Mead, which feeds the Hoover Dam up there, was at an all-time low, and they were getting close to having to turn that off. But fortunately, we got a bunch of rain, and that helped. But this is a prime opportunity as tower gardeners, and for those of us that are avid tower gardeners, going around and talking to our neighbors and our good friends, even other Juice Plus reps. There's so many reps that don't have tower gardens. I'm surprised, in the fact that they don't, because when we grow in our tower garden, we're using 98% less water. So we can start conserving ourselves. When you think about all the plastics that we save by growing on our tower, instead of going to the store and the plastics they use, all the petroleum, all the gas that they use to farm the crops. So we're doing more than just growing food when we do that. We're conserving the water, conserving resources. And just like earlier, you asked what the temperature was in our house. Each of us are keeping our temperatures cooled. So essentially you have your own little greenhouse right there in your house. So during the summertime, when we have those 3 months of heat that just drive us all indoors, that's when we should bring our towers indoors, use those beautiful grow lights we have that are very energy efficient as well. And again, making that investment, I'm excited to be part of that. Those grow lights only consume 125 watts per the whole light fixture per hour, and they don't give off much heat at all. So it's a great thing for us to have. And for those of us that don't go away for the summer, this pandemic's been a little bit crazy, but what a better time to be growing food now. And then when you grow your own food, what's been sprayed on it. I mean, I look at the chemicals. I mean, as a pharmacist here, I start looking at all the chemicals that we get exposed to. And when you grow your own food, what's being sprayed on it, which is nothing. And you're going to be so much healthier. Your gut health is going to go up. I've heard Dr. Mitra Ray talk about the microbiota. It all starts with our gut. And for those of us that are really involved in taking the whole food supplement Juice Plus, all these things are going to work together, and they're going to really give us longevity and actually even better health, better immune systems. And I haven't had many Juice Plus reps really get sick. And if they have, they didn't get sick like some of those patients that end up in the hospital. So there is a lot to just eating healthy, keeping that immune system primed and ready to go. So the tower is a perfect way to go right now.
Troy, we were talking about, I said, wow, we've had so much rain. We caught up. And you were kind of almost laughing at me. You were talking about droughts and you were saying how many decades it's going to take for us to overcome what we have.
Yeah, it's going to take a good 10 to 20 years of if we continue to get the kind of rain to fill up everything. I mean, all the groundwater. I mean, they're talking about how we're using some of the ancient waters because we're using so much groundwater. So again, it's up to us to start conserving. And the tower is a great way to do that. You grow your own food, conserve water, and you're going to be healthier. So again, getting those around us that just are even taking Juice Plus to get a tower of their own, that would be incredible. So we're excited about supporting the team here in Arizona with as much as we can.
Awesome. So tell us some of your more successful crops heading into this fall time that you would recommend if somebody's brand new to towers, or they're just checking us out. Maybe some of you on here are like just thinking about getting a tower. I know I have 3 of them outdoors and 1 indoors, but there are some here on this call that have way more than that. So tell us some of, what you want people to be successful right off the bat. So what are some of the crops that you would recommend at this time of the year?
Well, since we're going into the fall, this is when we want to start growing outdoors. And if you're starting up first time, we always suggest starting with the leafy greens, the herbs, things that are very, very simple to grow. They don't take a lot of taken care of or pruning or anything like that, other than when it's time to start eating them. So again, those things will really grow fast. So from a 2 to 3 inch seedling, you'll have a, 21 to 26 days, you'll have a full head of lettuce, kale, and those things will grow like weeds in our tower. Arugula. I mean, we're growing green onions and those things. So things that are very simple is what we're recommending. And if they do want to have a little fruiting crops, maybe start with some of the smaller fruits like the sweet Carmen peppers, snap peas, string beans, the things that are very simple to grow and don't take a lot of space up. That's where I'd have them start.
Nice. Somebody had asked me about, I know there's several schools that are opening now, starting their towers. And one of the schools asked me about strawberry gardens. Can you spend a little bit of time talking about the best way to grow strawberry gardens? Should it be indoors, outdoors? What's the time on the timer? Your suggestions, because I heard they're like a tricky little fruit to start.
Right. Strawberries are a little bit trickier. I mean, they like to have a lower pH, around 5.5. With the new timer that we have, the black timer that's already programmed, that's really helping out because you can have that on the indoor setting. If you even grow in outdoors, because the problem with strawberries, we all overwater them. And so they start to have that crown rot. So again, the new timer is working great because if you have it on the indoor setting, but growing outdoors, because then you have the full sun, then you have the wind that helps dry those seedlings out. So having it on 5 minutes on, 45 minutes off outdoors in the direct sun, that's going to be your best situation. Not that you can't grow them indoors with the grow lights, because we have customers that do it and they're very good at it. And I saw that Janet Cook's on the call, and she can grow strawberries. I mean, it's been incredible what she's done with strawberries. And again, just don't overwater them, and that's the biggest issue.
All right. And what about pH? A lot of people have questions about pH. I sometimes forget to check my pH. I just like throw a hose in. I don't check the pH. It's like, what is your tip for pH?
Well, we say initially check it once a week, but get to know what you're growing. And if you see burning on your edges of your plants, then you can check it, but don't be a fanatic where you have to check it every day. I have some people that thought they had to check it every day, and it's like, well, no, once a week is more than enough. And then once you get your plants growing, even once a month. So as you see the growth cycle of these plants you're growing, you'll see that checking the pH once a month might be more than sufficient. I mean, I know Tim Blanke, I don't think he ever checks his pH. But again, as a horticulturist, as we get to know the plants we're growing, you can just tell by how the plants look whether or not the pH is off or not.
Some of those gardens of yours look so green. Do you add anything extra to it?
No, we don't. So when you grow outdoors, you get a lot more dark greenness. And um, again, you get that full sunlight on them. And again, we're constantly dialing that pH in. We check, we have a doser, so we're constantly monitoring the pH as well as the nutrients. So again, the key is starting with clean water. The cleaner the water, that's one of the keys. And then not over adding the nutrients. Some people are adding way too many nutrients. And again, too much and too little can cause cause some issues there.
Do you add nutrients every other time, half dose, or do you add them like, how do you decide? Because usually the indoor garden, for instance, you don't really know how many gallons are missing when you add more water. So how do you
Right.
figure that out?
On the farm, we have dosers that are, so as the water is filling those towers, because there's floats in each tower. So as we're adding water, we're adding nutrients based on the temperature, the time of year. A rule of thumb, if you're growing indoors, you're probably adding water once a week. So we're going to encourage you to add 20 mils of A and B per gallon to that water, because indoors you've got your own controlled environment. So every time you add water, you're going to want to add nutrients. And some people will say, well, I've added water and they're growing just fine. But then when they show me their towers, they start getting that translucent or that yellow color on their leaves. So anytime you start getting that yellow color on the leaves, you don't have enough nutrients. So a good rule of thumb, if you're growing indoors, every time you add water, you add nutrients as well.
Okay. How about the position of the tower? How a lot of people go, where should I put my tower? Can I move it around? It's nice having the dolly because you can move it around. What's the most ideal spot to have your tower during the winter versus the summer? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, indoors, you always want it to someplace where you're going to make sure you look at it and you're going to start using it right away. Outdoors, so when you look at outdoors, so in the wintertime, you want to have it more on the west side, more of the southwest, where you're getting sun all day long. So, okay. And then in the summertime, you always want it more on the east side. So if you east side of your house, so then the house will shade it. So then you're getting all this morning sun. The sun is very intense during the summertime. So typically, if you get sun up till about 11 o'clock in the morning, that's more than sufficient. We put up a little hoop house on our patio now, which is on the west side, and we're showing people we can still grow even full heads of lettuce and Swiss chard and fruiting crops out there, even through the summertime. Granted, we've already been growing seedlings year round out there as well, but we wanted to show that you can do that if you give plenty of shade. So just a rule of thumb, summertime on the east of your house, the wintertime or in the west.
And we will have this recording so that we can, shoot it off to you. So in case you forget some of the things he said. Also, I just want to let you know that Tim and True Garden has offered, if you put team 2021, you get 25% off your seedlings. So you want to make sure that you and your team are able to use that code. It doesn't matter if it's capital or lowercase.
That is correct. And that's good through the end of the year. And so we're excited about that. We have conference coming up. And I know it's in St. Louis. I know that's always around my anniversary, my wedding anniversary. So it's never one that I usually go to. So I know I won't be at that, but again, we want the Arizona team to really start taking advantage of the weather as it cools off here and to get their towers cleaned up and get ready to grow in it.
Right. So before we announce, for those of you who are on the Tower Garden giveaway, before we announce some really exciting news, we have time for a couple of questions. So if anybody has a question for Troy, this is the guy and this is the time. So you need to unmute yourself and ask a question that, might be pertinent to this time of the year or just with your tower. How about lights? Okay, a lot of people ask me, how long should we have the lights on, Troy?
Well, to get the maximum growing out of your seedlings, your plants, 18 hours is what's recommended. So, and some people say, well, I'm in that room and it's too bright for me. Well, just have those lights programmed to turn off during the time you're in there, and then they can be on longer into the night. So 18 hours is what's recommended with these LED lights.
Okay, I usually put mine on. I usually have them click on at 3:30 in the morning because I'm still sleeping. And then I shut them off at 6 o'clock or 6:30 at night. So I don't light up my whole neighborhood. What is the cleanest, the easiest way to clean the tower garden before replanting?
Well, depending on the kind of buildup that you have, excuse me, the kind of buildup you have, take a drink here. On the farm, we actually power wash. We actually power wash our towers. Now on the residential side, if we have a lot of buildup, we'll actually take it apart, leaving that first pot that's on the lid attached. We rarely take that off. We'll turn that upside down, but we'll put all the other pots into the reservoir, add water to it, then we put a half gallon of bleach in there and we'll let it sit for 20 minutes or overnight. And then we'll triple wash that. That way it sterilizes it. So that's the key. We want to do that at least once a year. And that way we keep root disease out of our tower. There's some, I remember there's one NMD that a couple years ago had bought seedlings from me and they all died. Then she bought them from another seedling provider and they all died. And she had never sterilized her water or sterilized her tower. And so as a result, she got enough root disease, enough pythium in the in there, and because those spores will live whether you have water or not. And they were constantly killing everything she put in there. So again, there's a way to do that. Bleach is still considered food safe. We're using a product called Twin Oxide. So I have people that add that once a month, and that is actually cleaning and sterilizing those towers on a regular basis. You just add that to the reservoir once a month. And so those people, we just been having them once a year, take it apart and sterilize it.
So is that the Aquamirror that you have?
Right. The Aquamirror is a liquid form, and then we have a tablet form, which is the Twin Oxide tablets.
So you
Which
just pop
is
that in the base of your water once a month?
correct.
Oh,
Correct.
wow.
Once a month. So again, we're trying to come up with simple ways to make it
Right.
easy to clean and keep your tower clean and disease free.
Okay, I just bought a 10-pound bag. I don't want to bring it back to UPS of citric acid.
Uh-huh.
Is that it? Citric acid. A lot of people say that they put a couple pounds of that in their base, put all the tubs in there, let it even run it while it's all the way up, and then that usually just wipes clean. Have you noticed that that is a adequate way to wash out your tower?
So citric acid, I mean, again, that will help dissolve any of that buildup on there, but it doesn't sterilize your tower. That's the issue that I have with citric acid. So if once a year comes around, that's when we want you either to use bleach or use the Twin Oxide to sterilize that tower. And you don't want to do that once a year. So when you use the Twin Oxide tablets, they help keep your dissolved solids from attaching to your tower. And it also allows the plants to uptake more of the nutrients as well. So it's a great thing that we've been doing. So citric acid is more if you want to wipe your tower down or get all that buildup off. But hopefully, if you're those that have been using the Twin Oxide, they're noticing they don't have that buildup, and so it's way easier for them to clean, and they'll just wipe it down with citric acid or even vinegar and water. So that's what we do a lot on the farm here. We're just wiping down with vinegar and water because we're using the Twin Oxide in our towers now. We've been doing that for 4 years.
Yeah, I usually put white vinegar and baking soda, like, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of foams up. And
Mm-hmm.
so, how much bleach did you say?
We're just putting a half gallon of bleach once
Half
we fill that
gallon?
reservoir in. Yes, that's more than sufficient. And at least once a year, you'd want to do that.
Okay. And
All
then,
right.
so the discount that you're offering is only for reps that ship, or is it okay when you go in to pick up seedlings?
So that's going to be for anything that's pre-ordered or shipped,
Okay,
because I have a lot more staff here during the week than I do on the weekends.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
All right. So does anybody else have any questions? Any other questions? I've been kind of fielding them by the chat function, but if you want, you can unmute yourself and maybe make a comment. Or I absolutely love your seedlings, Troy. They're beautiful. Michelle, do you have anything, Swift? Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, we were just down at True Garden yesterday and just kind of walked to the side with Troy and got to see. I was just amazed at how fast they're growing. And Troy pointed out to Billy and I took a picture of this, one of the towers that had only been growing for, what did you say, 3 weeks to a month, Troy? And it was like ready to harvest. I mean, full blown harvest. And I'm so excited with our season coming up. I know we flip with the East Coast and whatnot, but we picked up a few yummies today and got to share it at a wonderful nutrition class that I took with some friends today, and they were just blown away at the yumminess of the basil and the sorrel that we put out there for everybody. So super excited. So Troy, how often or do you give tours of your wonderful place, your farm?
So with our classes, we give a backside tour. We are going to start getting tours back up and running. So if you have a group of 10 or more, they can contact me and we'll arrange that. And typically we'll do those on Wednesday afternoons or Thursday mornings. And that way we can start looking at some schools, because there's a bunch of schools. And again, with the kids, we charge like half the price with adults. So again, that's something you can contact us, and that's worth 10 or more. But typically, if you take a class, which is the second and third Saturday of each month, we will tack on a backside tour as well.
Perfect. And those
Awesome.
classes are awesome. And I've been to one of them. I want to come back down with my husband to the more advanced one because I learned so much just being hands-on right there and asking questions with people. So that they're awesome. I'm just,
Sally has mentioned in the chat too that they're really great and they're for existing Tower Garden owners and very informative. So for brand new people, it's just a great way to go. Go ahead, Michelle.
well, I was just curious, Troy, if you can address a little bit about our food supply that we have and why it's so important that we are growing our own towers and I couldn't be more, with the conversations that we've had in the last few weeks of just talking about just what's happening. I don't know if you guys have all seen, but going to the grocery store yourself, I mean, there's just not a whole lot of produce going on. And I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that compared to growing your own food.
So
And
ironically,
why it's so important, I guess, that we grow our own food.
right. I mean, we're so used to going to the grocery store and having whatever we need. But right now, as a result of the dynamics that are going on here in the US, we're actually seeing a decrease in food being brought to market. And there's a lot of different issues causing that, between the farmers and transportation. And it's hard the cost of gasoline's going up and diesel. So we're going to see shortages. And we can combat that ourselves just by growing in our own towers. I mean, this tower garden is so much easier to grow in than soil ever will be. And now, granted, you can't grow your tubers or your carrots or radishes, but all the other things you can really grow super fast. And the nutrient density is incredible. The flavor profile is there as well. You'll never go wrong growing your own food. It's too bad that we're actually seeing a food shortage here in the United States. Again, there's weather changes going on. Some parts of the country are getting too much rain. Some parts are not getting any rain. So it's really an interesting dynamics that are going on as a result of this pandemic.
Nicole just mentioned that she was in Washington and they had a sign on the door that said no salads available till next week. So sad. I don't know how far you are from your beautiful garden, and I don't know if you can walk with it.
Sure. Sure.
And then
I'm always willing to
this
walk.
magnificent garden, everybody. I don't know if all of you have seen it, but Troy's going to show us a little bit about what it looks like, what this commercial garden farm looks like.
I was going to just turn it around. And so we had class yesterday in an advanced class, and I was showing people how to harvest their towers. So you can see where I've really cut things way back. Here's a lot of the lettuces, leaving a good 2 inches. Again, you can harvest from the outside in, like what we're doing here. So you take the big leaves off. But again, it's important to be harvesting like the Swiss chard. You can see where I took it way down there. And in about 14 days, that'll be fleshed way back out. So again, you want to be able to harvest your tower. Don't let it turn into a shrub. If you can't see the white polycarbonate plastic back here, it's overgrown, and you want to make sure you harvest it. Here we have all the different baby greens here. You can see how we're keeping it nice and manicured. Twice a week, we're just coming in here and we're just snipping it, giving these things haircuts. When you do that, you're going to keep that cuticle layer on these plants way healthier, and that'll keep bugs from attacking your tower as well. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick. We're going to go outside here. For those of you that have been to True Garden, we've got the patio here. Anytime you come and pick seedlings up, you always get seedlings that are more mature. They have a great root system.
You're going out of range.
And
Going out of range, but I don't know.
tracking the poor. Okay. I'll just give you a little walk
We're picking up
Over
little
here.
pieces here and there.
here. There's a strawberry top or readjust that leafy greens. And I mean, we're growing all sorts of crops outdoors, tomato. But let's get over to the greenhouse here.
Troy, can you hear us?
Ship out. Maybe it's too much.
Your bandwidth is low.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
If you take it off wireless, maybe you could just use data. I don't know.
All right, let me try that.
Yeah, we only have a couple minutes left and I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so he's going into the greenhouse here. It's all thermostatically controlled. Look at these beautiful gardens.
That was the month-old garden right there. Isn't it beautiful?
Well, it's off of Troy right now, Michelle. I don't know what happened. Michelle's on. Here, pin it. I just pinned it.
So can you see, can you hear me now? Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
See this chartreuse yellow color here?
Yes.
This tower, we need to either adjust the pH or add more nutrients.
I
So,
see.
and you can't see the plastic here. So this tower really is overgrown
Oh my
and
gosh.
and should have been harvested last week. Okay,
Wow.
keep walking this way. Look at the beautiful leafy greens. Got some arugula up there. We're getting ready for this Phoenix contract that we're doing with the city of Phoenix, and they're going to take a couple thousand heads of lettuce, hopefully per week. So we're gearing up to start growing all the different varieties of lettuce, indoors, outdoors, on our patio, different varieties of lettuce here. So again, those of you that have come here, I mean, your traditional bib lettuce.
I love bib lettuce. It's my favorite.
Isn't that something? Isn't that
I love it. Oh my gosh.
like it's
Beautiful.
yeah, all the different herbs trim off of. Beautiful. I just want to show you. So these are our baby greens here that we're going to start planting again as well. That we fresh cut for different restaurants. I mean, look at this basil is on steroids here. I mean, it's just everything's just growing so fast. My wife told me that she never wanted me to buy a store-bought tomato again. So we're actually growing tomatoes in the greenhouse. So this tomato tower hasn't been taken care of. The gal that used to do that got injured, my upline, Nicole, and she usually takes care of that. When you grow tomatoes, this is what you want to do. You want to get in here and get rid of a lot of these. I mean, you've got get in and allow the airflow into the plant canopy. We've got lots and lots of here. Every week we're picking them, but you want to really and cut some of the things off that don't have any blossoms on it at all, because all they're just you're putting growth into greens that don't do anything. You want to put it into the fruit. But my wife is getting tomatoes all the time, growing cucumbers. We're growing a lot of new varieties of cucumbers. And again, that have been buying some of those. I know Paul and Laura came in yesterday and bought some of the cucumbers. They're just tasty. So we're really trying to step our game up and grow things. I mean, this is a jungle. It's too bad Nicole can't get in here, because she does such a good job on these things. As I was trying to get back there, Marvin, get back, it's almost like a jungle. So I get lots and lots of tomatoes. So yes, I'm not buying tomatoes ever again from the store, since we're going to grow them year round in our greenhouse.
Wow.
Here, I'm
Okay,
gonna
Cody, do you want
pan.
to
We're
head back
gearing
to
up.
the office? Did you want to head back to where you were? Because it's breaking up a little bit. Your bandwidth is a little low.
It's all the metal that's in
Oh,
this building. There's so
yeah.
much metal.
Oh,
Oh,
beautiful.
beautiful shower of Swiss chard. Look at that. Isn't
Wow.
that something? Cilantro, different types of kale. Yeah, let me walk back there so we can see if I can get my bandwidth better. This is
Yeah,
where
we
we do
can
all
get
our shipping
back
and
to
our seedlings.
Closer
Oh,
to
yeah.
your modem, you'll be able to.
I had a question for Troy from a customer who is a Tower Garden customer, but couldn't be on tonight. And I forgot, I would love to ask for him.
Go ahead.
I don't know if Troy can hear me.
Troy, can you hear?
Give him
Yes, it's a little garbled, but there we go. I'm back in.
Okay, go ahead.
I should be good. What's the question?
So Troy, my customer asked me if he wanted to purchase seedlings to keep, if he's not going to grow them all at one time. Do they expire, or can he freeze them?
So you're talking about just straight seeds?
Yes.
Just buying?
Yeah,
So
he asked if seeds expire, and I said, I don't know. I'll ask the master gardener. I said, and he said, because he wants to buy, he's very proactive into doing his own little thing and trying to be prepared if anything were to go down or anything. And so he's like, could I buy seedlings or seeds, and can I freeze them? Because he didn't know if they expired or not.
So, seeds will keep a long time. The key is to keep them in a cool, dry place.
Right.
And so we don't really want to freeze them, but we can put them in the fridge. And then you want to have a double container. So what I mean by that is, say you have your seeds in a little paper envelope, and then that paper envelope might be in a plastic bag. So then we go one step further, and then we have that plastic bag in some sort of either another plastic bag or some sort of container that if moisture does build up, it starts on the container first before it gets into that plastic bag where the seeds are, which will then cause them to get moldy. So seeds will keep easily a decade. I mean, we have some different types of seeds that we're growing that we just grow and have fun with. Those seeds are easily 10 years old, and we're still propagating them and germinating them without any issues. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Great news. So now we're going to let you guys know what the secret is. So those of you who are joining us and buying your customers have bought a new product, or they're a new rep, they get points for that. And you saw the flyer, it said Just the Tower. Well, because we found a donor who's willing to collaborate with us, and we're not only going to give you the tower, but you're also going to get a class, which is worth $25, $35. You're going to get seedlings for your tower, and you're going to get lights. So you go look at everybody's mouths drop. You go from now sharing that opportunity, and also the fact that they can just buy a Omega order, and they'll be able to get their name in the hat. And we're going to pull the name out on September the 2nd. So those of you in this area, we're going to have a tower to table event at my house on the 2nd of September. There is space limited. So I would let you know that if you are going to come, make sure you RSVP. I am going to put that event on Facebook also, so that we can see what you're bringing and that kind of thing. Any other questions, Michelle, that you might have? Isn't that exciting? Super exciting.
Super great. That's awesome. I mean, our winner is going to be so blessed. I mean, that's awesome. Thank you, the donor.
That's great. So that is another little feather in your cap that you can share with your people. Call up the people that you even talked with before and say, you're not going to believe this, but we just upped the ante. You got lights, you got a class, and you got your seedlings. Do you want to buy any? You want to order anything now? So please, those of you who are on this call as a guest, and those of you who are watching the recording, please talk to the person who invited you. Please talk to your sponsor and the person that has brought you into our community so that you can get an order from them. And you can also be in the drawing for this amazing tower garden. You'll be able to start it outside. You'll be able to put those lights on your flex or your indoor garden inside, and it's all taken care of. So super excited.
That's literally over $1,000 free gift.
I know.
I was just computing all that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's over $1,000. That's crazy.
Yes,
I
yes.
want to win.
I know. So honestly, you guys just, make sure that, yes, we are in Arizona, Tammy. If you know somebody in Arizona, we only have maybe 10 days left, but each rep had to put in $35 to be part of it. And if you wanted, I'm sure that we would make an exception for you if you wanted to be part of that. So anyway, any other questions before we end? I wanted to thank Troy again for all your generosity, your love, support, and everything you do especially for the reps of Arizona and beyond. Thank you so much. And those of you who are collaborators with us, I want to thank you all for taking part in this raffle this month, and looking forward to seeing who's going to win this amazing prize. So everybody's saying thank you on the side. And anybody else have any I'm going to take everybody take off mute and let's all give